Good morning. It is Wednesday, January 14th, almost halfway home. I'm Paul J. Daly. It's Kyle Mounts here. This is the Automotive State of the Union. This morning, we got a bit of a lively one talking about Trump's middle finger at the Ford plant, some smarter reconditioning strategies, and Gen Alpha entering the chat when it comes to the majority of retail spending. I mean, I think about this often. If we would hear our own show titles like a year ago, how that would feel, right? And I feel like
you'd be like, no, you'll never say that. Don't worry, you'll never say that.
Yeah, who's bingo card? Who's playing games? Who did I make a bet with? I don't know. It's just a Wednesday, though. It's just a Wednesday in the auto industry.
It's just another Wednesday in the auto industry. That's what I love about this show. I mean, when we started the show, golly, wait, was it over 4 years ago?
It was like almost 1,300 episodes ago, if that helps you.
My goodness.
What's today's episode? Hold on, we have a counter. Today's 12:43. So
12:43. When we started the show, I remember us every morning just going like, dude, did you see? You know, that was normally the way it started, and it's still going that way. It's like, dude, did you see?
I know. I mean, it keeps us interested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Speaking of things
that nothing else, we're entertaining ourselves.
That's right. That's right. We will be in together in Washington, D.C. next Thursday for Public Policy Day at the DC Auto Show. So that's the 22nd. Thanks to our friends from Safe Ride for partnering with us to bring you content from the main stage. We have a lot of stuff going on, and last year was wild. This year is going to be even more wild. We get to talk at this event. There's a lot of legislators and OEM representatives and policymakers, people who aren't naturally in the flow of conversation, but our goal is to bring that conversation closer to the front lines of the industry. So, we stand out a little bit.
If you're in the Baltimore, DC, even Richmond, Metro, Virginia area, and you can make it there,
that's a great thing.
What we realize is that we got so many questions last year because people immediately recognized that we were close to the retail side of the business on like, can you explain to me X?
Right. Why this?
And it was like, in our minds, it was very simple
like,
question.
You don't understand.
Like, well, obviously this is the way this works, like, because we're close to it. And I think that that's where people need to like lean in from the retail perspective, being in those spaces. So if you're close, come hang out, be around everybody. We'll make sure that you get in some
introductions.
way.
You feel good.
Yeah,
we'll be your friends. That's what Kyle's saying. Is we'll be your policy day buddy.
We'll
be your policy day buddy. We also have an upcoming webinar next Wednesday. This is the second of the year in our Soto Edge webinar series. Back to brilliant basics, elevating the auto buying experience through real world customer feedback with Betsy Marietti of Urban Science. Fun person, fun conversation. We know how to make data fun around here.
Yeah.
And I think customer feedback is some of the most fun data. Let's be honest.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, like thinking about how do I take this and turn it into actionable stuff the next day after someone feeds back on the previous day. Big deal.
You never know what those customers are going to say. You can be at the webinar with us by going to asotu.com and registering. It's right there toward the top of the page. And
note to self, customers say the darndest things. It's got to be a show somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like, wasn't it like a Jimmy Fallon skit where they read the customer reviews? Right. We should actually bring that into automotive because it could be a riot. All right. Speaking of things that are a riot, full on riot. Start the show today. Segue into the first story. President Donald Trump made a high-profile visit to Ford's Dearborn truck plant, touring the F-150 line with company leadership, previewing a patriotic new pickup, and filming a CBS interview on the factory floor. Trump was basically guided around by CEO Jim Farley and Executive Chair Bill Ford. He saw an F-350, which was wrapped in an American flag, and Ford plans to basically release this mid-year for America's 250th anniversary. They're actually going to wrap the F-250 as well. The plant was described by Farley as the most important automotive plant in the United States. And Trump praised Ford's workforce. He said, I love the sound of the assembly line. Like, don't you love that? The visit did end, though, on a bit of a viral note when President Trump flipped off a heckler who shouted pedophile protector during his exit. Now, Bill Ford downplayed the incident, saying, like, listen, that was 6 seconds out of an hour tour, and it was an amazing visit. The White House responded and said a lunatic was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response. How's that?
If anybody could get, quote, appropriate and unambiguous response out of flipping someone off, I guess.
I don't know what he said. Maybe he said love you. Love you. I don't think.
Yeah, the fingers were maybe confused. The wild part, there's a GoFundMe started for the employee, which has raised over $25,000 from almost $1,000.
That
what a mess.
1,000 donors. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I think here's what we need to do. I love that the automotive industry is at the center of culture. Very passionate industry, doing a lot of things. And I think I can't remember how long the CBS interview was. It was like 30 or 45 minutes. And basically he was like, in the time we took this interview, 12 trucks have rolled off that assembly line, which blows my mind when you think of how fast they make these things. But I think we at More Than Cars need to do our part here. And I think we need to send the president and the heckler a love people more than you love cars shirt.
Oh, what an amazing, just give them both. It's both sides, all the sides, all the feelings, like love people more than you love cars.
Bring all the people together. Speaking of bringing things together.
Stop. Segue.
Time. Nothing like reconditioning to bring the pieces together. Faced with affordability challenges and aging trade-ins, more dealers are implementing targeted reconditioning strategies to retail vehicles that would have gone to auction just a few years ago. So this approach is including dedicated checklists that focus on safety and mechanical soundness while allowing the minor cosmetic flaws that might usually mean a car is going to auction. Holman adopted this method in June, you know the group, leading to faster turnaround times and stronger margins. Dealers like Premier Automotive and Ganley Automotive are also leaning into older, higher mileage units to meet demand. The goal is to invest intelligently, fix what matters, disclose the rest, very important part, to keep prices approachable. Chris Morgan of Holman says, you have to intelligently dial in the reinvestment. It's not easy, but it works.
Here's something that I think dealers are finally learning from what Carvana did a long time ago. Carvana never put out perfect vehicles, but what they did put out was perfect transparency with that
major
vehicle,
game
right?
changer when they
the
did
ability
that.
to click in and say, oh, there's that scratch, there's that, it's a used car. Just being very, very visceral about this is a used car. Here's the issues. Here's the good parts. Here's a price that makes sense based on everything that we know about that vehicle. And I'm like, kudos to these dealer groups that are leaning into this when acquiring used cars is getting harder and harder. And used cars is where the margin, where the profitability is still hanging on at the dealership as margin compression is happening on the front side. So, or on the new car side. So this is like a strategy that if you're not adopting, I don't really understand why you're not.
I've known a lot of groups who have done really well with this over the years, not just because of now. And they have a lot of vehicles that are under $10,000 and they would typically send them to auction, but they have enough size that they can keep these cars, recondition them, because their strategy back then was, hey, we want to own all the cars in the driveway. And when you have a new teen driver, or you just need a car for the weekends, or you need a winter rat, if you live in the place where you get a winter rat car, it's like, well, we want to have something for them. And so definitely it's a messier business for sure.
It's
a messier business,
but you can create some clear messaging around it. Make sure that it's clear in your merchandising. Make sure it's clear to everyone. Have some sign offs on stuff like that. We used to do something called public before wholesale, where we just said, hey, look, we're offering these vehicles to the public before they go to wholesale.
I like that. So I love that strategy because people feel like they're really getting a deal, and you can be as aggressive as you can on the pricing, and it doesn't. I guess the service revenue doesn't hurt.
No, not at all.
Not too shabby.
Bring that person right back into their new car the next time they come back.
Yep. I wish I had a segue.
There's no segue.
Teenage drivers, young buyers. Speaking of young buyers, there you go. We got there.
We got there. A new study is showing that kids born after 2010 are already shaping nearly half of family spending decisions, despite most of them not even being old enough to drive. Gen Alpha influences $255 billion in U.S. spending across food, fashion, and leisure. I can attest to this, by the way. Their buying influence is powered by peer and family input, not influencers or ads. Visual appeal and style are top decision factors. Sustainability ranks low at just 16%. So they're just like, buy whatever's next. Many Gen Alpha kids are already earning money through informal or part-time jobs. Tenio's Jen Lefevre said, our findings show a generation skeptical of media messages and steadfast in their opinions.
All right, Gen Alpha. This is kind of the first we're talking about them having any significant. We've been talking about their coming. It's obvious now that they are here. Now, granted, the oldest Gen Alpha, I think, is 16, 15, 16. Yep. So it's the oldest. But in some states, that's driving age. And it's going to be driving age in a year or two. And so as an industry, to think and pay attention to how they're communicating and realize, like, hey, they're influencing purchasing decisions, right? And you know, when you have a teenager, they got an opinion on something.
Well, I have 3 Gen Alphas, and a couple things to note. One is, I don't care if you have kids and you're walking through any sort of grocery store or convenience store or anything like that, they're influencing your purchase decisions by their ability to go postal. If you don't have that thing influenced. But the second thing, and this is where the cultural moment around cars is really driving, is, and I've mentioned this multiple times, where my kids are very keenly aware of Tesla and EVs because the style, the cultural moment around them, the conversation around them with their friends and peer groups is so high that it's consistently reintroduced, even in my family, right? Oh, Dad, look at that cool car. And it's an EV, because all the EVs have a similar style and they look totally different than what kind of the legacy automakers are building. And so I would say that that's where the influence is. It's almost like, it's like display advertising, right? Where if you hear it and see it enough from your kids, you start attenuating yourself to look toward those products. And I bet that's so much of it in society right now.
You know, last night I was with, actually, I don't know if my 16-year-old is Gen Alpha or Gen Z. She's right on the border. I was watching Beast Games. So Mr. Beast new series, the second season of Beast Games, massive thing, with my 2 of my Gen Alphas, and Mr. Beast is selling to Gen Alpha hardcore. Like the commercials and the built-in ads. Like, it's obviously they have some money to spend. They have some influence. We should start paying attention. Thank you so much for paying attention with us. That's basically what we do together. We pay attention to what's going on. We react accordingly. And at the center of it all is taking care of the people first, and everything else takes care of itself. We'll see you tomorrow.